This is the Angela Hive. We're going to do an inspection. We've been feeding them for about 3 weeks now with 1-to-1 sugar water. And these two top boxes are just feeder shims. There's some comb honey in here that I put in there for them to clean up. And take this off. It's just feeder shims. And then top cover here. So we're going to just take a quick peek. Oh, sorry, girls. Now they're angry. I'm just going to open it up. I'm going to take a quick peek under here for the queen. Make sure she's not in there. I'll make some room here. We've been feeding them for a few weeks and they've been drawing out. And they're drawing out these frames. See some pollen and some nectar in there. Same over here. This one's nearly drawn out. So I'm just going to set this on the front here just to make some room. And there it looks like they're here. They've got, this is an emergency cell. I don't know why they're building emergency cells. They're not laid in. I'm just going to remove those. Got a little bit of capped honey there. Just squish those down. They'll reclaim the wax and rebuild those. Fix that comb. Not much going on that side. This frame's pretty heavy. There's a little bit of honey stores up here, and then you see there's pollen around the edges, and that's loaded with capped brood. And we're probably looking at about another week or so for that brood to emerge. Same over here. We see eggs in the bottom here. There's eggs all in the bottom here. A little bit of capped honey there. This is all capped brood. Very nice laying pattern. Looking at about another week for those to emerge. And that honey that's there is their reserves. That's their food for the brood, as well as the pollen. So there's some more pollen, some more capped honey and some pollen. And this is some capped brood and some larva. It's not quite capped, of various ages. So here's larva that is close to being capped. And then there's some smaller ones in there as well. And some eggs and some very new larvae in that cell right there. I don't know if it's going to be visible. We'll rock this frame, see if it shows up. There's all stages of brood in there with pollen. This over here is pollen that's mixed with enzymes, and it's fermented. That's called bee bread. And that's called bee bread because that's what they feed their babies. We're still looking for the queen. See, these frames are quite sticky where they've propolized them. And there's a great display of the brood there, if you can see it. All different size larvae. Nothing's capped on this frame. So these are relatively new, with a lot of bee bread and some honey again up in the corners here, up at the top. And then they're building some wonky comb there. We're going to take that off, try to straighten it out. There's all ages of larvae and eggs on this side as well. We're going to put the frames back in the way I take them out. Don't want to squish any bees. This frame is very heavy with honey. And we're capped larva. See up in the top middle, you can see the bottom up in the air. She's working that. A worker bee will visit a larva. They will visit them up to 2,000 times a day. 2,000 times before they're capped. And there's another. We're going to be busting with baby bees in about a week or two as these emerge. So I suspect our queen is probably going to be on this next frame here. They're really propolizing these, sticking them together. And propolis is a resin that they collect. They put enzymes in it. And there's another emergency cell. I haven't seen the queen yet, but I do see eggs. So I'm not sure why they're making supersedure cells. It's unlikely she's going to be on one of these frames. I may have just missed her. There's not much going on that frame. Nor on this frame. I'm going to pull those other frames and see if I can spot her. Pull those other frames again. And here, this is all nectar, which really is just sugar water. They're storing it up. Which if it was for commercial purposes or for human consumption, you wouldn't want that. So we're just feeding them because there's nothing going on right now. We need them to pull out comb with wax so the queen can lay. Check this frame again for the queen. There's a big old yellow dot on her. Crowding the corners here, making it difficult. You don't want to pinch a bee. Oh, there she is. There she is. And she's doing a great job. This is all her eggs, all her larvae and her pupa. So I missed her the first time. Now, I'm going to go back and remove that. I'm going to go back and just squash this. There's nothing in there, it's just wax. But that'll make them rebuild. I don't want supersedure cells in there. She's a perfectly healthy young queen. And we're going to push these this way. Put this frame back in. Nice and gentle. I'm going to tighten them up, and then center them. I'm going to tap this cover on the ground here, just to kind of get those girls off so we don't squish them. It's kind of inevitable that you squish some bees, but we want to squish as few as possible. Now we'll put our feeder back, our honey box, keep that one in there. This is 1-to-1 sugar water, about a quart. They will take that down in the next day and a half. Just pulled these off and they were empty. I wasn't too concerned because they had some honey to eat there. And that's it. We're going to close it up. That's the end of this video. End of this inspection.